This is my outline. There's one that didn't print. And this is my audience. Alright. Good evening, everyone. I want to talk to you about banning public smoking. Putting a ban on public smoking can help prevent the effects that second smoking could have. It will set a better example for young children and teens, and also better our environment. Nowadays it's become almost popular where everyone is smoking in parks or just outside of stores and everything, and people just walk by and catch a cloud of smoke right there. So secondhand smoking is one of the effects, one of the main things that happens, and it affects the people around them, which it could risk them over a long period of time to have heart disease. Heart disease has been pretty high these years. There was a study in 2015 that approximately like 33,000 deaths were caused from secondhand smoking. And also over time, if you smoke also around children, like they can develop respiratory tract infections, so it can even also give them asthma. So for one thing, it affects children where they can't have the time to spend outside, play sports, because they could all of a sudden have an attack. They can't breathe or anything, so they would have to get medical attention and get an inhaler. Another thing that was found is like for infants, especially like pregnant women, they can get affected as well as the infant when they're born. There's like a research that found that secondhand smoking caused closely like 430 sudden infant death syndrome, which is SIDS. And parents don't want to deal with that, losing a baby at a young age, especially if it's their firstborn. It can hurt them tremendously. So secondhand smoking is a huge problem, and that would help, especially to get them out of the way if they have a designated spot to smoke instead of around children and other adults too that are non-smokers. Another reason to ban public smoking would be to set better examples to young children. Right now, if parents smoke, like the mom and the father as well, there's a higher probability that teens will end up smoking. Children usually like to imitate what the parents do, and they want to grow up and they think that they want to be just like their mom and dad, so they could catch into that bad example and start or try smoking. So there was pretty much a lot of studies done on it as well, and there was a chart that I put right here where it shows the highest probability if a mother smokes or even if a father smokes, which one is, how much family influence it has on it. Another thing that affects them is that from being around it could cause children to be curious onto why do people smoke, and that's where they can try to catch on to and want to attempt it, and they can end up liking it as well. And then non-smoking teens are also prompt to try a cigarette within a crowd, especially if they have a lot of peer pressure. Other people in the group smoke and they want you to try it out, and they keep on pushing you, and usually teens don't have that strong mentality and will give in. And that's another thing that we should also stop public smoking, because it could happen anywhere. You can just be out having fun and someone can offer you one, and you never know. Another reason it should be banned is also all the negative effects that it has to our environment. For one thing, cigarette butts are the highest littered item in our country. So that's why there's a lot of not a lot of enforcement, but they need to enforce a lot more. on disposing of the cigarette butts effectively. Because over time, when cigarette butts are just laying around on the ground or beside waterways, it can release toxic compounds, and that affects the environment as well. It affects the wildlife, as if it were to run into a water stream, it could affect the fish and any microorganisms that live in it. And then if we consume it, it can also harm us as well. And another thing that causes this to our environment are tobacco facilities. Tobacco facilities dispose of their toxic chemicals, and usually where they are disposed of are not the greatest places. Sometimes they are disposed into bodies of water like the river, and even just the water system. So it could have an effect on anything that could happen through them. And they also have an effect with deforestation, because with a tobacco cultivation, they need an area to plant, and they usually tear down an economy just to plant tobacco and produce their cigarettes in those companies. So in one way, if children are held back from smoking, it would also slow down these facilities and could end up, causing higher demand. Well, not higher demand, but higher pricing, because the demand is not as high as it used to be. So it will be less sales than anything. So it should be banned to help the health of individuals. Like, for the smoking is like a big subject that should be brought upon children in an early age and in school as well, to be known like what risks could happen, like the consequences that it has on people around them. And innocent children should be helped and not have that encounterment in a daily life, especially in the public, just enjoying their time. So, there is a lot of smokers out and everything, and it is difficult for them to quit smoking. So it might not happen completely, but they should. And having that, they should think about the risk that they could contribute to the people that are around them. And just by, having to inhale that smoke so often, it could affect them tremendously. So thank you for listening to my speech today, and I hope it makes you aware of what happens with smoking, and it persuades you to take an effect on helping talk about it more and letting the public know on what it could happen there. Thank you.